Alright, hello and welcome back to the fourth part of our 1d6 against everything speedrun. On part 3 we have successfully crossed from 1200 to 1500 and now we're going to move even further forward. Everything stays the same as in the first three parts. Antosh is here in the chat, looking forward to seeing 1d6 in action. Shout out to Antosh. And I think we can start. Choose the focus mode. I think everything is fine and we're ready to start. Let's see. Considering that we have okay, they go for f4. Considering that we're now facing high rated opposition, I'm expecting to face a bit more theoretical lines and sidelines in this part. Okay, e5. This c5 is also given in the course. And after e5, okay, let's take. I think knight g4 was the move, or knight d5. I'm going to have to check out this line. This is a very rare sideline, which I unfortunately forgot right now. This is not a good promotion for the course, is it? If I forgot the line. I think it was knight g4. Attack the opponent after knight f3, knight c6. And then follow up with g6, bishop g7. Hello to Eve Singularity, welcome to the stream. We are going to do our best. Okay, bishop b5. I think bishop d7 was the move. Now we're threatening to take again. Takes I'm not that concerned about. There is no real discovery against this knight. Can I take on e5, knight e5, give a check, and take? Yeah, that would probably be fine. And then when we pick up the knight, we'll have the bishop pair and be up a pawn. So I'll again call the opening a complete success. I think I remembered correctly, but I'm not 100% sure still. Okay, now we need to be a little bit careful. There is some counterplay for white with bishop connected with bishop f4. So maybe, but if I go queen c7, bishop f4, e5, they can take. That's mildly annoying. Alright, then I'm going to simply play g6 followed by bishop g7 and try to finish the development. And if bishop f4, retreat the queen. If here, queen f5, maybe rook there immediately. But now if I go to c7, now there is no more bishop f4. That should be beneficial for me. Hello to Smart Sky. Yeah, 2 streams for 2 days in a row. Now is the right time for me to promote the course and for you to buy it. So let's use the chessable command. Now I'm going to long castle. After bishop g7, this was a threat and a problem. And now I think next moves are relatively easy. f6, e5 to chase the bishop and seize more space. Also, this bishop on c6 restricts the knight very nicely. So let's do that. e5, knight b5, my opponent can and probably should do, but I will just retreat the queen probably to b8. And then next move, play a6. There is some counterplay still for white. Maybe b4 is not a bad idea. Queen g4, I don't know. Here, I guess I'll go f5. Queen c4, I can go bishop d5. I'll need to be a bit faster because I've been relatively slow up to this point. And actually queen c3 is a nuisance. The downside of b6, a big downside, is that my king will be way more vulnerable to the attack. But I had to defend this pawn, I think. Okay, I didn't play this in a good way. This might be the first game I do not win in this, but lose instead. In this speedrun. But let's try to make sure it doesn't happen. G2 is still hanging, and there are still some pluses in my position. Just time is not one of them. Now my opponent should take. And take the exchange. Let's see if they do that. No, they don't. Then I'm gonna take like this. Oh, it takes with the rook. No, I started blundering a lot of things. Okay. This game I'm going to probably lose. And it will be the first loss in the speedrun. Probably. Not 100% yet, but probably. That was very poor from my part. I should stop doing 2 streams per day, because I'm very tired after the first one. But yeah. So where the problems began were, yeah, this is a part of the course. So not knight g4. What have I done? Just 1 second. I need to check this immediately. I need to check this immediately in the course. So we gave knight d7 and not knight g4. Yeah, knight d7 and then, yeah. Okay. It happens with these rare sidelines. For example, this has never happened to me since we analyzed it. It happens that I don't forget, that I don't remember the line. Okay, after this poor performance, the problem started. I think this was, of course, an amazing position. The problems probably started here. Queen h5 would be like, I didn't want to double the pawns, but queen h5 forces the trade of queens, and there is no counterplay whatsoever. And here it was also fine for me, but there was a lot of counterplay. And when I got down on the clock, I started blundering many things, and yeah, the position was of course lost later on. Okay, we'll keep on playing. We'll try to make sure this doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, 86 wins, I think, in a row. Should not have been that much, but let's go d3, follow the same ideas, same principle. Knight f3, bishop e2. Let's see if we got the reversed Fidor. Or again, this d6 stuff. Anyway, as we said, we'll try to seize more space here. Let's go b4. I'm not sure how good it is, but when my opponent retreats to bishop, a4 is normal. But b5 is a possibility, and then after knight a5 or knight e7, I can take a pawn. How good is that, actually? Takes and then d5. I don't like it too much, so I'll just play the standard stuff. a4, a6, and then probably just a5, bishop e3, or knight bd2, knight c4 first, and seize the space advantage as we have done several times already throughout the course. Throughout the speedrun, not throughout the course. b5. Now I guess I should take... Okay, d5 was better than d6 to open up everything immediately. Here, we'll go to c4. And now either exchange with bishop e3 and gain more development lead, or maybe play bishop a3 to threaten b6 after bishop a7. Bishop a7 I'm expecting. Okay, bishop c5, but that comes under a tempo. Knight e4, the bishop is hanging. Okay, bishop b6, I will just take it and play something slow and positional. Maybe bishop d3 to defend the pawn. And now we will seize the center. Seize the center completely, and with the pawn up, and with the bishop pair, everything is going as planned. Bishop h5, it maybe looks nice, but it doesn't do all that much. The bishop there, as long as I don't blunder some knight e4, everything is more than fine. Let's finish the development. At some point I should probably play knight d5, or just start steamrolling out with f4, f5. Both plans are possible. I prefer the sharper one. I'm not in a good mood after the last game. Yeah. Okay, knight g4. So my opponent's point is that after f5 there is knight c3, queen e3, knight f5, but I don't think it works because after this I have a check, and after knight takes, e takes, knight e3, I have fg6 again, and bishop takes is still a piece. Okay, so this bishop h5 is possible, but now we'll preserve the bishop and chase the knight and the bishop with h3, g4. I don't remember when was the last time I had such a pleasant position, actually, with such nice pawn legion. Is the chat alive, or did everyone left me after I messed up that first game? Okay, let's take this. Bishop g3 was also very fine, but the king feels weak, and I want to open things up. It's knight f6, and then I'm going to take this one, activate the rook as well, and weaken the king further. The Anders has gone. Yeah, I can understand that. I'm also disappointed. You never leave me alone. Glad to hear that, King Shield. I have mean full screen. Why would you have mean full screen? Oh, hello to Lucifer99. Nice to see me? Yeah. It might be nice to see me, but it's definitely not nice to see the way I'm playing, at least in this part of the speedrun. However, the loss count is still at 0. That's good. Yeah, everyone's watching the master at work. You're just joining. Okay, Deander. I appreciate you joining. So we'll continue with d3, as always. By the way, I'm curious, what do you guys in the chat think about the overall lines? For example, Anjash, King Shield, you saw more parts of the speedrun. What do you think about the course and about the actual lines and positions we were getting? Do you think they're quite good per fighting, or do you think they're like they can be improved on? Ha, you have not seen my first game. That's why I'm not happy. Okay, so now they're playing in a way of a Leningrad Dutch with white, reversed. Against that, we're going to, like in general, there are two good lines. The first one is to play c5 and then try b5 and so on. But what I prefer is to play d5, then to not allow this this d3, e4 at all, and then this knight on c3 is relatively stupid. So this is the way I'm going to play in this game. And now I will try to open things up with c5, because if my opponent takes with dc, it would be uncomfortable after knight e4. And here I can again go knight e4. Knight g4 is interesting actually. Knight g4 threatens knight e3, and after some queen d2, maybe I can go knight e6 or something. Okay, let's play knight e6 first. And after dc, I think I still have this. Okay, now I'll play bishop g4, develop this bishop. And now it would be about time to attack this pawn on d4, I think. So I'll take it and go knight e4. Okay, now my opponent blunders this d4 pawn. How do I take it actually? There's also knight b4, not thumb, but I'll take this and take d4. How do I take it though? Probably in a more greedy way with bishop d4. I'll just play e6, trying to maybe go queen f6. Yeah, but if I go queen f6, it's tactically a little bit unsound. I'll go queen a5 instead. Then after takes, I can take on b2 normally. And with the queen on f6, it would be hanging, so... Okay, this is surely not gonna get the job done for my opponent. Giving up the queen like this. Let's take this. Now it's not two bishops for a queen. I'll get back to the chat in a moment, you guys. Let's go here. Maybe queen c3 next move. Okay, we win. We'll be a stream together with Mircea, quite likely, but my co-author Mircea is currently playing in the Romanian Championship, and until that is finished, he has very little time for other things, including the speedrun. I think he will do the speedrun on his own when I finish with mine, but we'll see what happens. Hello to Bone. Yeah, of course you need time to do the course during introduction. You cannot study it in like one day, but still, we need way less time to study it than other lifetime repertoires. Yeah. We also don't know how easy it is, but you'll try and see how the target market will use them. Yeah, more aggressive. It's more aggressive. For example, we played the English rat defense. And this is what we have not had yet, and I'm glad that my opponent played this, because now I can show this line in the English rat. So basically, this structure favors black immensely. Why? Because we control the d5 square. White does not control the d4 square. So even though you lost castling rights early on, you can still develop the pieces normally. And with this structure and this hole and the restricted pieces, this knight is restricted, this knight is restricted, you always have the upper hand in these endgames. So I hope to demonstrate that in this game. Like, I would like to play bishop c5, but then takes b4. Still, I'll do that, because if I go a5 first, also a typical idea, my opponent maybe can play rook d1, and then bishop c5, there would be rook d7 followed by bishop c5. where I would lose material. So I'll try to do this immediately. Even if my opponent goes b4, doesn't matter. I'll just go back. Even if he goes c5, I'll just finish the development. And hopefully in the long run, this square will be exploitable. How do I break through now? Because my opponent also has a nice plan. Let's go a5. Try to exchange one pair of rooks. One pair of rooks I want to exchange, the other one no, because maybe I can exploit it, exploit the d file. I still feel like I should have done a much better job before. This knight is now not ideally placed. I'll try to move it to e6, then it will be able to go to d4 or f4. Yeah, this was the main strategical idea. Bishop c4, I know that I allowed, but I think knight d4 is strong against it, because if bishop f7, there is knight c2 forking, and if takes with a knight, then I can take bishop. I can take bishop c4. I can also take ed, but I think bishop c4 is stronger, and then I will be able to use the file in a better way. For example, knight d4, bishop c4, and then rook d3 later on. Yeah, here, okay, I can take the knight if I want to. I'm still better. Let me just check if I'm blundering something. Check. King e2, knight a1, knight e1 to stop my knight from escaping. Is that the plan? Then I can go rook d2. No, sorry, not rook d2. Okay, I don't really believe in it, because, well, my knight will remain relatively trapped after knight e1. It still has... Oh, my opponent doesn't even do that. That's a welcome sight, but it would not be able... he would not be able to attack it anyway, even if he did the knight e1 thing. Here it should be easy. Now it's the clean exchange and the pawns are weak, so they will fall. Yeah, this endgame after the English rat, if they go for this endgame, black is immediately preferable, and that's one of the very good things about d6. Very often they do this. Especially if they're Queen's Gambit players or Catalan players, they like to go d4 and c4 on the first two moves. And here it's we can exploit it very nicely with d6 and e5. I'm always happy when this happens. Like, whenever this happens, I'm very happy immediately with black. Okay, now I have some time to rest until my opponent runs out of time, I guess. Okay. One more d6 win. Always happy to have that. I'm a bit curious about this game from the beginning though, because, well, of course black is immediately better here. Ah, yeah, that's why we didn't give c6. That's why we gave first knight d7. Yeah, this is on me, because we gave knight d7 first in the course, not c6. Of course, this is also at least preferable for black, but yeah, my opponent played decently this part of the game. Yeah, but still, it's always black the one who has the upper hand. Knight g5. Why is knight g5 better? because of knight d4, bishop c4, knight c2. And then the knight comes to e3, and somehow he holds all the squares. Yeah. Okay. Messages. Chess.com message. Okay, never mind. This is not important. Let us focus on the speedrun. Oh, hello to Osnachess. Glad to have you here. Our old and new viewers. Are here. Okay. This opponent was not here. Let's keep going. We get white, so we get the better version of the course with one d3 and tempo up. Or not, if this opponent is not here either. Nobody wants to play against me. That's sad. But we'll survive. Okay, against this, as we have said many times before, we go for this setup. And then we try to push for e4 or e5 when black. However, after f6, maybe a slight change of plans is needed. Maybe we'll start with this. But now c4 seems very reasonable as well. Because after this, then I can play e3. I can go c3 first, try to go e4 and open everything up with e4 and then d4. Because e4, then they can go d4. And while that's surely very okay for me, maybe there is a better way. Okay, I'll try c3. They blitz out c5. Now I think I'll go c4. Considering black spends so much time with pawn moves in the opening, I think I can also spend one. And then the point was after d4 to go e3 and go into some kind of a very good version of Benoni with like 2 or 3 tempo up. And here I will just collect this pawn, so it's also very good. Bishop e7. Should I take or not? I'll take. Bring some pieces into the game with tempi. Bishop f4. Let's go knight d6, hit the bishop and create some nasty threats like knight e5. Or knight d4, which one is preferable? And why is there no mate? Anyway, let's go knight d4, give a check. And then I'm just gonna go here. The threat, I'm not sure if it actually exists because knight c8, rook c8. Yeah, okay. Knight c8, rook c8 would defend the c7 square. Here, I think I'm going to decide for the materialistic approach of knight c7 because I don't see mate. And now after rook b8 I can go knight d5 and take the rook. Or I can do it like this. And with the clear exchange up, I don't think conversion should be a problem. However, if it shouldn't be a problem, it can be a problem. Let's take. And now time to... No. I don't want to give up the c4 pawn. I'm too greedy for that. I was really hoping that my co-author GM Paralyzing would play more d6 in his Romanian championship games, but thus far he never played it. Maybe that's why he lost the last game. Because he didn't play d6 but d5 after d4. You can't go d5 and win. You have to go d6 to win. I mouse slept with a3 and wanted a4, but it's not the worst of mouse slips. I can still push the pawns down the board. Unless I blunder some fork, it should be relatively easy to convert. Rook d7, pick up the remaining pawns, and the h-pawn. The h-pawn has its way. If I remember well, Nispan was playing d6. He still is sometimes. Many players are. Mostly it's not their only repertoire, but sometimes it is. For example, grandmasters like Kadiric, Ivanovic, Markush, they're playing d6 almost exclusively. As have I in the past year or so. Let's see what they have against the reverse Fidor. They go for d5. Finally, we got a reversed Fidor with a tempo up. Bishop g4. This move is usually not ideal. The bishop is much better placed here. Now my opponent allows me to go b4 and a4. This has always been quite good. So let's calculate now. a5, d takes c4, d knight e. A b6, knight c3. Is there a way to avoid this? Maybe take here. Take here. I kind of like this one. Okay, bishop f2 is also possible. Now I guess the knight takes, and now I have a choice. I can sacrifice the queen, or I can go rook f1, knight c3, queen e1, which is objectively probably better. But you the guys know me. I always say who needs queens anyway, and then I sack the queen. So I'll do that now as well. I guess including bishop g5 is useful. And then play knight c5. For Mircea, d6 should be the first choice. He has done a lot of work on Benoni, and these two openings can lead to the same type of play. Make sure to tell him that. Yeah. The next time you see him on stream. Where do I want to go with the bishop? Maybe d2. I don't want to go to e3 because it will get under attack quickly. Queen here. And what if I go bishop b3? This is covered, this is covered. See, this is also covered. You had to go to b5 and then there was c4. Okay. Maybe my next speedrun should be how to win without queens. Hello, John Gold 7. D6 player sacking queen. Sounds like c5 should be his first choice, but okay. If you check my games in the database, you will see that I played every single opening in existence. So absolutely that includes the Sicilian. which I've had very good scores with. Bishop a4 was not made because of b5. Yeah, I'm a bit curious about the tactics here. This is just the improved version of the course because we're a tempo up compared to the course where in the normal Fidor we have we have one tempo down, and the bishop here is never ideally placed. b4, a4, this was good, a5 was best. Yeah, a6 was best, I suppose. 94 was good enough. Yeah, it was all good. It was fine. By the way, what's the wing counter? I think it's 91. I think I skipped one, but I'm not sure. You'll let me know if I'm wrong. d6 is more flexible. d6 is less studied by the opponents. Nobody studies d6 and everyone studies 20 moves of Sicilian. So d6 is way more practical in today's chess. Queenless games are a lot of fun. Yeah, sometimes. Okay, e3. Now we'll go h6 and then e5. Similar to the London bishop, here it's not going to be that much better. We've already had in the morning session of the speedrun one game where the opponent played a very similar thing. It also didn't end up his way after the opening. Hopefully this will be similar. What's the most precise way of doing this? I can go for the pawn with queen a5. Why not? Let's do this. Maybe it's too greedy of an approach, but how bad can it actually be with the bishop being so dumb on h4? I don't think it can be bad. Queen d6, but now after knight e4, where's the continuation? Here? Then I can take here. So now if I can bring the knight to b5, the queen is trapped. Let's be primitive then. This is not the best move, and it's not what I would have played in a classical game, but... okay, so the problem is knight c3, rook d7, knight b5, queen e5. Yeah, okay. No, not this. This still hangs. I should not have played smart with queen c5. I should have played a normal move. Normal move instead. Now we'll have to part ways with a pawn, which was not part of the plan at all. And also my opponent got rid of his stupid bishop. And this is hanging as well. Things are getting worse and worse in this game. And it's all because I tried to be clever and not play the best move. The Great Danton, I have no idea. But I don't care if it's win or loss, it's more about promoting the course and the lines. But this is absolutely not a good promotion in this game thus far. I'm objectively lost, but there are still fighting chances. Don't tell anyone. Well, my opponent spotted the tactic, but let's try to exploit the weakness then. Yeah, it's not a walk in the park anymore. Now players are becoming stronger and stronger. As white, you have your own lines versus Fidor and French. Queen sack line versus Berg. Yeah, the Sicilian D6 is non-committal. That's why not only you, but most players do that. However, I'm pretty sure that your line is covered in our course against the Fidor as well. Yeah, stronger and stronger instantly hangs rook, but okay, it's like I was just not supposed to play smart. I was just supposed to play a normal move, and then it would be way easier. Because out of the opening, the position was again amazing. Let's not make a stalemate. That would be sad. D4, ED4, Bishop F4. How do you do that? So where did the problems begin? Here, this I know it was fine. This is in the course. And I know black is immediately better. Maybe the greedy approach. No, the greedy approach was fine. It was a pawn up. So yeah, I was just supposed to play a normal move, take the bishop. And yeah. And after this, like my idea was this, but now there is also bishop f7, which I don't see at all, but this is good enough because I cannot take here. I have to take here first. And now it's two pieces for a rook. I was trying to play smart instead of just making a normal move. And after that, the problems began. Where I hoped that this would happen, but it didn't. My opponent knows his tactical ideas. Okay, in the Fidor, but how do you get that? Like e4, d6, and then what? Let's play knight c3 here. No, my opponent doesn't do this. Okay, fair enough. Let's go bishop c4 now. There are often problems alongside this diagonal. I want to go f4. I want to play very aggressive in this game. Aggressively. Knight f3. Considering my opponent cannot castle, I simply want to open the whole position up. Open the whole board. Maybe like this even. This is maybe too ambitious, but I don't see why it wouldn't work, honestly, with queen h5. So after bishop g4 I can take, and after this, yeah. There is no mate, right? Like queen h3. Okay, I'll still include queen h3. There was also no mate after bishop e6. But then I'll take, as I don't see anything concrete. Now, after that move, concrete stuff begins. Yeah, this f5 can backfire really a lot. So after knight f5, after knight f3, f5, d3 is one of the best moves. So d3 and d4 immediately has to be really, really, really bad. Knight f3, e5, d4. But I don't take d4. Bishop e6 was made where? Here. Takes, and then what? Am I missing something? Ah, there was forced mate with queen g4, queen e6. Okay, that one. But everything I did was fine, yeah. Simply, this is immediately better for white. If you go d3 and they go f5. This is just not good. Okay. That was one win where I didn't have to try all that hard. b4. Fortunately, d6 works against everything. That's good. We'll follow up with our King's Indian setup. And now let's go here, and maybe again the double fianchetto should have a lot of sense. But I'll do it with a5 included, so if takes... Okay, I'll go b6, bishop b7. Anyway, if takes, I'll go knight g4. And if this is horrible strategically for white, because now with this side of the board blocked, and this side open, I will simply start pushing these pawns, and what is my opponent going to push? Nothing, because everything is closed here. So strategically this is an absolute disaster. What's the best way to punish this absolute disaster? Queen f6 is logical. And then play e4 and f4 at some points. But first let's bring all the pieces into play. Knight a2. Yeah, but that's the thing. When you go wrong strategically, it's very hard to come back. Maybe it was wiser to first put the bishop here, but this looks fine as well. Especially, like, where's the knight gonna go? This one, also where it's gonna go. Here. You sure about that? And now it's a clean piece. D6 is especially useful if they play some of these random openings. That's always very bad against the King's Indian setups. Why not e4 and win a piece? There was always knight d4 to block the diagonal. It would not win a piece. Let's go here. I kind of like this to attack the pawn and then play bishop d5 so that this bishop, which is stuck, finally gets some air. Okay, this was a nice win. Complete domination, but my opponent played strategically. He didn't understand what to do strategically. So he blocked the side where he's stronger, and then the side where I'm stronger. I had my hands free to do whatever I want there. Okay, last time I've seen this was when playing someone rated 2000 or so. 1000 or so. Okay, because it immediately hangs at least one pawn. Now I'm curious whether there is something better, like taking on e3 and then maybe this one later on, or should I just take? Okay, I'll try to go for the bishop pair and now take. Now we got both the bishop pair and a pawn, so should be very good. Let's just finish the development now. With castles. Maybe bishop c6 to activate the bishop even further. And now we build the endgame advantage. If I take here, there's 96. So I can take here first and then here. I mean, I don't want to give so much counterplay actually. Let's go bishop d5 then, just to stop this, and then next move I can go e5 and or decide on one of the two if I again want it. g3. Now let's get rid of this knight. It's very annoying here. Knight goes there, and I think it's time for bishop f3 and e4. Maybe not e4 yet, so the reason for e4 is to start attacking here. However, I like this move as well, to restrict the knight even further. And then maybe c5 is also possible. e4 or no e4? No, I won't play e4 yet. Just not to give the square. Now I can finally do it and go for c5, I guess, and then the knight cannot even go here. That was my plan. Maybe it's not so good of a plan because he can do something like this. Yeah, if I do this actually. Okay, I have not played this in the most precise way, but it's still fine. King c7. I was worried about takes bishop g8, but I think I'll be able to trap the bishop then. Let's put the bishop here, knight c4, bishop c7, or even take, and then I can finally trap the bishop, and that should be game over. Unless I blunder some fork, of course. Maybe bishop d5 first. This will help get rid of some material, considering that we're a ton of material up. And unless I make a stalemate, it will be relatively easy now. Where are we at with rating? 1583. Okay, I think I'll play until 1700. Under promote bishop and technique. If you want, they want me to under promote to a knight and checkmate with a bishop and a knight. No, but I won't have to do it because my opponent has abandoned the game. So now I can talk to you if there's anyone in the chat. Yeah, this. Oh, they played some move. No stalemates. Okay. So yeah, when they do this, then you basically win the game. You're winning on move 3, and I call that quite a big success for 1d6, even for 1d6. I'm often winning after a few moves, but here I'm winning after 3. That's one of the better things. As we have said, against this we know what we're doing. Going for the c4 stuff. Okay, and now we play c3 to always restrict the knights. These endgames can be played, but in general, usually they're just great versions of the King's Indian defense reversed. The exchange variations. Okay, bishop g4. Where to go? Let's go here. Just so it's a tempo. And then maybe push h3. But if I push h3, it could be a weakness. Usually the knight belongs on e3, so let's bring it there. And this may have been a small waste of time, but whenever they play h6, they need to think about the f5 square, because then g6 will be way harder for them to achieve. So let's go knight f1. And here I'm avoiding knight c4 because of the pin after bishop e6. I think this is more precise. Yeah, now this is not hanging anymore, so I am free to reroute the knight. Bishop g5, and now I guess knight f5. To pose even more problems. And you see, when h6 is played, if the pawn was on h7, g6 is possible, but considering my opponent played h6, now g6 is way harder to get, and that secures the outpost on f5 for my knight. And while it's there, I can double the rooks and try to infiltrate on d7. He cannot move the queen, this is hanging. He cannot move the rook, this is hanging. So yeah, relatively paralyzed. Yeah, black is relatively paralyzed. Yeah, knight a5 may have been a bit annoying, but then I would go back, and the knight would stay on the edge of the board if I go for some queen c2. So he would have to also spend a tempo to bring it back. I was not worried about that. Rook b8 is a good move, by the way, because my opponent wants to ease the pressure with either queen e6 or queen e8. But my plan will not change. Now I'll take this. Queen e6 was maybe best, but then I would probably take, and then the structure is relatively bad. Here, after this move, the threats are very big. I don't really see how black can parry all of them. What's funny is that I'm threatening knight e7 to smother mate the queen. I have never seen such a motive before, actually. Last move there was this. Okay, my opponent frees this square, so I cannot do that. Then I'll just start collecting stuff. h4 to kick the knight away first, and then the rook is going to go to d7. Not immediately, not to blunder tactics, but let's first double. Then move the queen, and then it will be fine. Let's go maybe queen d5, queen e5. Rook d8 I can take, and here I planned queen e5, but there's knight g4. So maybe I'll change the plan, put the queen on c6. Now it's just a matter of technique. The hard part was to get to a winning position, but 1d6 helped. Hello to Joe Assad. He could have played g6 anyway, because knight gets trapped if knight h6. Oh, really? You might be right. I didn't notice. Sorry if I blundered. Anyway, e5 is... No, this is defended. But e5 was what I would play. Anyway, now Let's not blunder tactic again. Maybe go here to get rid of the knight. F3, and then this is the plan. Or maybe knight e6 now when it's allowed. Yeah. Well, the opponents are starting to play much better now as we're progressing in the speedrun, but still no real problems as of yet. What's going on in the chat? Oh, you said he could have played. I didn't see, probably after knight f5. Ah, so g6. Yeah, you're right. King g7, it would be trapped. I didn't see it. My bad. I hope you'll forgive me. Of course, I would still go knight e3 and hold the d5 square. White is still better, but yeah, you're right. G6 was very possible. Oh, hello to Janur Chess. Welcome to the stream. Long time no see. Are you streaming also these days? I have not streamed in a very long time, but now, considering that the new Chessable course has been published by me and also the co-author GM Pavligas, I'm promoting the lines from the course with a speedrun on chess.com. So that's what we're doing now. Where are we at with wins? It's 95, right? Or maybe I forgot one or two. So d3, and we played the reversed Fidor again. d4. I mean, we remember if they see space like this, usually we play c3. Is it now finally time for the knight d4 trick? I've mentioned this several times. Okay, I was black mostly. But okay, knight d4, bishop takes, knight takes, there is queen d3. So maybe not the time for the trick yet. Too bad. Okay, then I'm just gonna go knight c4 and play this good position. I don't see it. I'll take the pawn. That was under attack. Take. But I'm still holding all the squares. d4 is probably a threat. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so d4, bishop d6, and this pawn may be weak, so I cannot move the knight. But I think, oh, it goes there. I would have gone f4 against this. Now I will, I guess, castle. Castles, and considering my opponent long castled, as I've done many times during the speedrun, it's time for a quick attack. This should not work. I go a5. If takes here, I take a b6, and the knight remains hanging, and ba7 is a threat. So yeah. The Fidor itself is very dangerous, but the reverse Fidor is even more dangerous. That's what you should learn from this game. Are we at 1600? Yeah, we're at 1600. Good. It's a long road to 3000, guys. Okay, bishop d3. But they again go for d5. Yeah, okay. Let's play knight e6 here. Put the knight on c5. And now we will play this position with the bishop pair. Although it looks a little bit passive, and it is a little bit passive, the bishop pair is definitely going to secure us great counterplay in the King's Indian fashion with f5. He didn't have to take with the knight, that would be better, but even this even there I would have great chances for an attack later on. Now I'm a bit considering the plan, but I think queen e8, queen g6 is quite annoying. Just move the queen into the attack, pose multiple threats. He defended one, but not the other one. Should be 4. He's also a move like being more greedy. Okay, I'll take the exchange, doesn't matter, and go rook c8, try to go rook c2. Position should still be completely winning, even though the attack is not so dangerous anymore. Now it won't be about the attack, it will be about positionally converting material advantage. Okay, right there. Now we start collecting b3. It's probably, the point is probably to protect this pawn, but I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take it anyway. I guess this makes the most sense, because now it also creates somewhat of a threat of rook takes, queen king h2, and then maybe take here. With the queen on a4, I guess that's not possible. King h2 here because of queen e8 check. So I will just make some other move, probably more passive, but just something to convert the advantage. Here, yeah, okay. Let's trade off the queens and then convert with an extra exchange. What's the best way to do this? And it's probably not the best way, but I'll play it anyway. Knight e5. I wanted bishop f6 and then try to open up as much as possible. Here I will trap the bishop, and it will help me a lot to win the game. Knight e4. Let's double the rooks. Now I will exchange the rooks on c1. Next move, and without the rook, white will have no way to stop the pawn from promoting. Okay, let's go. Bishop b4, take the knight. And now we have the classic checkmating pattern. Yeah, so the more dangerous lines here are c3 or knight f3. It's all covered in the course. d5, I once lost against Symmetrical on the Olympiad after this move, but it brings nothing to white objectively. And this d5 is not really a problem. It never was a problem. Let's see what they come up in the next game with. Okay, they go for a setup with f4. This one we take. Now I'm thinking, okay, usually you castle here, but I'm thinking that it could be more useful to immediately pose problems with the queen on b6, because then knight g4 could be a nuisance for them. So there's d4. So it's not that big of a deal. Okay, then I'll just develop the bishop and the knight. Bishop e3 will be played. Yeah. Although I have to say I'm not too thrilled with the position I got out of the opening in this game. It's probably the first game where I can say that. What was I supposed to do differently? Maybe not. Maybe it's just... Maybe the problem is not of an objective, but of a subjective nature. That I just don't like the attacking possibilities. What does my opponent do against d4? Probably knight e4. Okay. Then let's go bishop d6. Pose problems in the dark squares. I mean, taking is logical. I also want to have knight h5 in the air. Let's go here. I want to have knight h5, knight g3 as an opportunity, as a possibility. Try to use the pin. No, knight h5 I cannot do now. Okay, I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired. I guess I can do this with queen g3 and attack all of these pieces here. What went wrong in the opening? That's what I'm way more curious about than anything else. Now the bishop opens up. If they move the knight, then it's mate. What went wrong in the opening in that game? With... Maybe it was better. Yeah, maybe it was better. Okay, we gave this. Yeah. Yeah, c6 was too ambitious. You should just go castle c5, knight c6 as suggested. Yeah, that's what went wrong. I even knew that. It just felt to me that I could exploit this in a better way, but I couldn't. Let me just briefly see. 135. Then it's 99. The win number is 99. I skipped one at some point. Okay. We continue with this. Yeah, now considering that they used this setup, I didn't play knight d2, which I played last time. Now I'll play like this, which leads to some hybrid, which if you're black you cannot get into these kind of positions. But if you're white you can, because of being a tempo up. And then you already have the bishop here. So this is more of a birds than a Fidor position. And again, this is supposed to be strategically bad because we can trade off the bishop, and now there are ruins in the pawn structure on f5, f7. All of this should be hanging quite a bit. I can immediately take f7 if I want to. Do I want to? Probably it's the best move, but let's play an endgame. I just want to show, honestly, how bad the structure is and how little counterplay black has. So after this trade, our plan is going to be to play f4, double the rooks on the f file. Maybe bring the other knight to h4 first. Makes a lot of sense, but okay. Let's start with a3. The only counterplay available would be this, and without that... Oh, my opponent plays h4, but that one I will take. even without that pawn, now I need to be careful not to blunder this, but it should be easy. But yeah, my plan would just be to open up and have a beautiful knight against the passive bishop. So, again, this was a big opening success, even though this is one of the rare things you cannot do when you're black, if you follow the course lines. But still, now it's time for f4 to finally open up the rooks. This was probably a mouse slip. He wanted to go to h7, so I didn't take it. Yeah, rook g4. And now we will take. I got a little bit stuck with this knight and the rooks. Okay, I'll go rook h1 then and play h5, h6, h7. That's the best plan probably. Rook g5. This does not work. Now rook f6 is the easiest, rook f7 is also winning, but why to give up the knight back? Let's protect everything, and now we can convert the game, especially now. We finally got to 100 wins. I'll take maybe a half-minute break after the 100 win. Nothing new in the chat. I'm sure you're all enjoying the speedrun. So to explain a little bit more about the opening. Here, if you go for g3, then they can go knight c6 and e5 and go to a version of a reversed modern or Pert's opening. And when you're black, then they go d4, d6, knight f3, knight f6, and then they already choose between knight c3 where you go knight bd7 or g3 where you go g6. But when you're white, I mean, this is what I played before, and this is probably what I would suggest to you, because here you get great reversed Londons or these things. e5 is not possible, and if they go here, now you can get to the Fidor. So maybe I would not suggest g3, but knight bd2 and move 3 against this if you want to have more correlation with the black lines. Okay, time to continue. d3, knight f3. Yeah, e4. Now we finally have the reverse Fidor, but they still keep going for d4, which is just not very good. Do we take on d4? Let's take on d4 first. I don't know if I should go for all of this or just play simple and positional stuff with knight d6. I'll play the simple and positional. Can we go queen a4 immediately? I think so, because then I don't see... Ah, they have queen b6. Okay. I thought there was no way to defend this pawn, but there was. Still, now when I managed to take it, it's a winning position with two bishops. And the pawn up. It looks ugly, but I'll play f3 actually here. Just so that the knight is very restricted. And the e4 pawn defended. And I'm not that worried about the dark squared holes in my position, because I have the dark squared bishop and my opponent does not. Let's go rook d1. Taking is of course good, but let's go here. Bishop e4, fe would be a problem, but bishop e4 I can take this one. Okay, we'll keep the bishop pair intact. Maybe rook d4, rook d1, double the rooks. And now it might finally be time to push and seize a bit more space. Let's go e5. Yeah, knight h4 is a decent move, but I think I just go g4 to prevent this one. And knight g2, okay, they can do it, but even if I part ways with the bishop pair, it's not a problem. I'll just go for this. King up and start rolling the pawns. Not too much damage you can do with only one knight. Let's go e6. If it takes, there's bishop c4 with a pin. Otherwise f5 will be possible without e5 hanging. Okay, I think the easiest is to get rid of one pair of rooks. Bishop d4 is also in the air after this. So let's take. Bishop d4 is winning, rook d8 is winning. Maybe rook d8 is easier, just pin and then give a check. And then take all of this. e7, threatening rook h8. With a promotion, we take the knight as well. And we're a little bit too much material up for the opponent to handle. Yeah, very often at the lower levels, as we have seen, they go for this stuff where they push t5 or t4. So this is win number 101. Should I turn on the light? Is this maybe better? Maybe. Are we going to play the Ganke Freestyle Open? Yeah. I already had that question in the morning session. I'll play the Chess 960 Open. I've been very looking forward for the opportunity to play 960 in a classical time control, with a classical time control. So, yeah. I'll gladly play it. Knight of 7. It's probably the best way to do this. Bishop b4 was possible as well, but it's fine. So now we have the bishop pair, and we're a pawn up. However, the only problem could be the knight coming here, so c3 will need to be played sooner or later. Let's go immediately c3, just not to think about it later on. And then maybe develop bishop f4. Kind of tempted to play f3, e4 again to restrict this knight. We have seen this in the previous game as well. It worked nicely, so let's do it again. Yeah, of course, no problem. I know you're not here in the morning. But, yeah. I'll definitely play the Ganke. But just 960, not the real open. Let's go check to force the king here. And then the materialist in me is going to wake up and take the rook. Even though the bishops looked very nice, I just want to take the rook. Maybe f4, not to allow knight e5. King e2, restrict the knight. Let's not allow the knight to d5 as well. h3, restricting this knight even further. Knight e4, not allowing knight c3 check. Now I can go rook b1 as well. Knight f7, fair enough, but it's still restricted. And now we infiltrate with the rooks. What's the best way? Maybe rook b8, rook b1, rook b7. Yeah, and how do I want to do this? Maybe like this. Check, take, check here, and now start pushing. This seems like the best way. The knight is out of play, and we can promote nicely to a new queen. Alright, slowly but surely we are going up with the rating. Okay, the English rat. Here we have, okay, this is the first time we have this, so it's time to talk a little bit about the line. White wants to simply seize space with e4, knight f3, and create counterplay. How do we fight with black? We gain a tempo, and then we go knight f6, trying to go for the quick development with bishop e6 and d5, if possible. But here after bishop e6 there would be e4 not allowing. So first we will do this with g6, bishop g7, and castle, go for the quick development. And now after they play e3, now it's time for bishop e6 and to go d5. And this is how you create counterplay. And after all the exchanges, or after c5, it's also possible, what is left behind is our very strong bishops here, and white's passivity and the bishop. So yeah, I always enjoy very much playing this line with black when they allow ed4, queen d4. Of course, check it out on Chessable. Use the Chessable command to get the link to the course. I think d4 could be good, even though it opens up the opponent's bishop, but we gain very, very nice things in return, I think. And no, this was not the right idea. It's still fine, but yeah, okay. Take. It's still fine, but I think I had a better way of doing things. This is still completely lost. Of course, there are two bishops. We king and pawn are 2 pawns up. But I did not have to do this. I could have played, for example, d3, queen c5, d2. That was probably stronger. Or maybe even here, just play bishop f5, force the queen back, and then play rook b8, something slow. But, okay. The past is in the past, as I always say. Now we have this position, which is winning as well. Maybe bishop f5 is good to attack the rook, and then bring the bishop to e4. An additional idea is rook d6, rook f6. That could be very deadly with queen f2. Okay, I will play now a strange move, queen e4. The point is, the queens will now have to get traded off, and when the bishop comes to e4, I will attack both the rook on h1 and the rook on b1, which is a very funny tactic, but it works. I don't have to give checkmate, I can just win material and win slowly. Or this. This is also quite good. Where are we at with rating? 1655. Let's continue. Do we get some... Okay, we get the mainline fill. No, we don't get the mainline fill. They're still playing this. They're still playing this setup. They're still playing this setup and allowing me to have a great position immediately. I guess I shouldn't complain. Okay, now what? Do I take cd5, knight d, queen d, bishop e6 and go for that kind of an attack? Or do I go c5 and go for the b5 attack? Kind of preferred this one to open as many things as possible. Okay, they did this one. Now I guess b5 has to be good. b5, if queen takes, then it would open the file, and if knight takes, e4 was a problem. Now we get b4, and after knight e4, take, and I guess f5 is very strong. Because we get to open up the position, and the bishops will always enjoy such things. The opponent can take this, I didn't forget, but this pawn, like it's only one pawn, and they get two more open files in front of white's king, which I can use for the attack. So it looks really good. For example, if queen a3, then I can go queen c8 and queen c4, build up slowly but surely. I can also play bishop e4 if I want to be materialistic. I always want to be materialistic, but maybe in this case it's not the best. Yeah, I'll try to fight my materialistic instincts. Play queen c8, queen c4. Then there will be queen e4 ideas and all kind of problems for white. Rook d2 is maybe better than c3 in that regard, but after rook d2, bishop e4, now it's not a piece anymore, now it's a whole. Now it's not an exchange anymore, now it's a whole piece or rook, so now bishop e4 is stronger. So yeah. I mean, at some point they're going to stop playing this d5, and then it will be way harder to win games, but as long as they're doing it, it should not be that big of a problem. Let's take with the rook. Queen a7. I will retreat the rook to defend stuff, and mission accomplished. We have successfully won a piece, and now we're going to win even more than a piece because we're attacking everything. Hello to Tijero. 1d6 still stands strong? Yeah, of course. It always stays strong. I guess we go to c4. Now my opponent thinks that he doesn't need a queen, which I respect. I like to sacrifice the queens very often as well. There should be a way to give mate now. Bishop f3 and queen b1. Yeah. I mean, sooner or later they will start playing bishop c4, rook g1, g4, all the good lines are a4, and stop playing d5 or d5. At some point that's gonna happen, but if you're low rated, you need to expect the opponents to go for these things, it seems. Okay, time for a reverse Fidor, or not. This has also happened a few times. Like in the earlier parts I went for g4, knight h4 and took the bishop, which is fine, but here I'm just gonna try something else. I will try e4, which is simply a different way of playing it. And if they go for knight f6 or e5, just bishop e2. Yeah, and now I think it's finally, after 20 attempts, I think it's finally time to use this trick. Bishop e2, knight e2, or if they take with something, then we take the bishop on h5. It existed in many previous games, but somehow I never could make it work until this game. Yeah, okay. No need for tactics, let's just defend g2. Long castles is probably logical. This is not logical. That's for sure. Now there are two options, but I think I should take with the knight, because the queen is hanging, the bishop is hanging. This does exist, but after rook g1, everything is defended, and yeah. Let's take the pawn as well. I don't see a reason not to. After long castles, I'll probably go queen g4 and just get rid of the queens. After this, what now? Queen b3, queen a4, all looks good. Maybe just queen f3. Get the queens away from the board. If here, then we're gonna go queen g3. Now they don't have to exchange the queens, maybe, but okay. They do exchange the queens. When will you produce lifetime repertoire 1d3? I mean, that's why I'm doing it here. You can use d6 with white, and it's no problem. There are small differences, that's true, but not so big. Okay, I want to exchange some pieces, so let's go rook g5, f6, take. And they can take only one piece back. Yeah, maybe PUBG 91. We are at 104. That's the number of wins. And 0 losses. It was supposed to be more losses, actually. I blundered in some games. The opponent didn't convert it. Let's take with the pawn. Keep the strong center alive. Maybe time for rook c1 and rook c6. That way I can go d6 without them having counterplay with c5. Now we go here. And what's the most precise way? Maybe rook e5, f5. I don't know. But rook on h5 surely lost its purpose there. When we stop, like, there is no attack, so there's no real purpose of the rook being there. Yeah, there seem to be more viewers in the morning sessions than in the afternoon. In the afternoon, I guess there are more streamers and people watch their favorite streamers. And in the morning, usually people, especially chess players, are not morning persons, and I am, so that's probably the factor. How much worse is one g6 against everything? Quite a bit worse, I would say. You have to suffer in many of those modern lines, but there is a course, I think, by candidate master Vyacheslav Nemets on Chessable, the modern against everything. Yeah, so this is, like, as I've shown, this is one of the ways to play, but this one was also very straightforward in winning. 105. You wanted a course on that? You have it. You have it. The modern against everything by candidate master Nemets. I'm pretty sure it exists. Okay, they went for this one several times already. Now we'll go g6, bishop g7. And considering they have not, this is not the typical King's Indian same-ish where I have played either e5 or c5. Here I can open things up. And it's not like a closed same-ish line against the King's Indian. It's much, much worse for white than that, because I'll open things up and the king will not be safe. So d5 is tempting, but queen b6 is more tempting, because now that he cannot castle. And now I can improve the rest of the pieces. Wait, isn't there some win now? Knight d4 or knight b4? It seems more logical to go to d4. Yeah, I'll be materialistic. Maybe there was something better, but I just want to get rid of the queen. A refined g6 less charismatic. Refined g6 is going to work. You just need to ask Chessable. Write to them and see the possible list of topics. After 1d6, everyone knows you're up to something. Yeah, and they should know. Will come guns blazing. They know I'm going to play d6, but I'll play it anyway. Whatever it transposes to d6, you'll just give a link to my course. Yeah, how is it going to transpose to the Fidor? The Fidor, we don't go g6. Hello to Merlin God. What elo am I at right now? 1680. Oh, sorry. I accidentally opened this. Okay, wins 106. The problem with this early d5 is that it simply neglects development. It's not so bad. The engine will say it's relatively fine, but it simply neglects development. You'll get a very good version of the King's Indian, no matter what they play. Yeah. And now when I managed to open up the position, it's just crushing. White didn't develop the pieces, and I have. Okay, let's keep going. That was quick. Yeah, I mean, for now I have not started losing games. Maybe I'll start losing games later. Ah, the King's Indian is there. Yeah. Okay, against this there's an interesting idea. Against d3 it's better to go e6 and d5 and completely claim that this bishop has no purpose there. But yeah, it's also possible to go for e5. But I'm gonna show you this idea. Just against e3, it's better than against knight c3, but still, I'll just show you the idea. We'll transpose to some kind of a French exchange, but not really, where this knight on c3 can be like not ideally placed and restricted with this. So again, out of the opening you have no problems, but it's not everyone's cup of tea because, as you can see, it's a very symmetrical position and you need to work hard in order to win. But you have no problems out of the opening here either. I'll go here, try to change the pawn structure a bit. What do you do against pin on f6? What do you mean? Here? You just ignore it. Put the queen somewhere, c7, b6. Normally, but okay, but when? I can take this one now, right? Queen d4, bishop g6, queen d1. Yeah. Can't say I'm too thrilled with that. Then I'll just bring the last piece into play. Yeah, you need to tell me, Merlin, in which opening, exactly which move order, just write it, because I don't understand when the pin is a problem. You mean in the Fidor maybe, or where? I'm not sure, like, the position looks so nice, but I need to actually find a way to break through. Okay, knight f6, I'll try to reinforce this and reinforce the center with f5. No, sorry, but I don't really follow. The knight is on c6, bishop on c5 with d6. You mean e4, e5, or what? Some Italian game? Don't really understand. In the course, I don't allow this. It never happens. And if you mean some other opening, then maybe. Yeah. Okay, let's go rook e7, protect stuff. Ah, for general advice, not this opening. I mean, you just include h6 first. Just include h6 first. Then it will never happen. Okay, now we see why this is not everyone's cup of tea. Because it's it's still a big fight ahead. Black is better for the whole game, but white is very solid. They still need to fight quite a lot in order to win the game. That's the problem with these symmetrical structures. Okay, this pin could help in now knight e4. I'm hoping that my opponent moves this knight anywhere. Then I have knight d2, and after it takes, there is rook e1. But they've spotted it, unfortunately. I only have 23 seconds. That's going to be a problem. This game, I might lose. Why there? My opponent could have played queen e2 and then pin me. Yeah, this is very dry. This was very dry of an opening. It's not really in the course spirit to go for this. To go for these lines. I didn't have to go there. Yeah. Like, white's position, white has no weaknesses. The position is very solid, so it's hard to make progress. Yeah. We are now at 1689. So 2 more games. If I win them, I'll probably end for today. Yeah, you could actually start playing d6. Just buy the course, use the chessable command, buy the course, and you're studied, and you're all set. You're all set to start playing with d6 and winning with it. Playing g4 when the knight is pinned on f3, it depends on the position. Usually, no, because then the bishop has to go to g6 where it's passive. But if there is some knight g4, then it's bad. Yeah, as the hero said, something like this. No, I didn't update the win number, right? Yeah. Okay, now we get into kind of a King's Indian attack. But the system will be the same, especially if the opponents play this one, I will take. If the opponents play first c6, then c5. Yeah, you should actually start playing d6. You can even have games like this. Okay. We're again white. Hello to GT Lazy. Welcome to the stream. Okay, as we have said already, we use this setup against the fianchettos and c5s and all of the hippos and all the other nonsense. Yeah, okay, let's just keep it in the spirits of the course with c3, d4, bishop b3, knight bd2. Now, considering the way my opponent played, it seems that I can go knight c4. It looks very annoying, because the d6 pawn is not defended. And even if queen c7, there was d takes c5, it would still be hanging. So yeah. Very often this happens if they play such a nonsense system. You have seen it several times already in the speedrun. Yeah, it's like, okay, we crossed 1700 in an express way. One problem is that after f3, d6, g4, you can't take advantage. We can live with that. The g4 is covered in the course. Not for too long, but g4 is covered in the course and move on. Okay, guys, what do you want? Should we end for today, or do we try for 1800? Vote now. Do we end for today and continue tomorrow, or 1800? Try to get to 1800 today. Try for 1800. That's only 2 votes. Let's play until a loss? No. This is not gonna be a 24-hour stream. Or anything like that. Yeah, okay. Let's keep going then. Until 1800, or try to. Now I'm really starting to expect them to be more booked and to play for some of the normal systems. Yeah, here. This is what we didn't have yet, and it's one of the critical lines. Here there are many options, d5, ed4, knight c6, but we're suggesting the move knight bd7, and after this the move d5. This has a very nice point. If this, then we can go e4. If de, we'll go de4 again. And this leads to some of the sharpest lines in the course. So check this one if you have the course. it's important to take the knight, not the bishop. Why? Because we need to get the e5 square for the knight. Now we go here. Now you go here with knight c5. Bishop b5 is the only move. Nothing else can be played. That makes any sense. I don't know why my opponent is thinking for so long. But yeah, this is a rare sideline. You go for a lot of activity. Both c6 and bishop d7 are possible. So the thing is with let me just see. Okay, let's go for c6. Let's go for c6. This is of course not critical. Queen g3 was critical. But yeah, again, you see how easily you can get amazing positions if you just follow the lines in the course. Could have taken with the knight as well, but I want to have a tempo all the time. I guess queen d3 is very practical. Bishop a6 is more ambitious. As usually never in my career, I was never backing down from the more ambitious move. The point is after f4, then we can go queen d3. And the knight protects everything. My opponent has to trade the queens either like this or with knight d2. And then we take and then go knight d3. Yeah, my opponent cooked himself, but look in the database this line. You will see nice wins for black. Yeah, so there is a small difference, Tijera. I will show you. Both is playable. The other one may be objectively a little bit better, but this one is maybe more practical. Still, in the course, the suggestion is the other one, but this one is also mentioned, I think. I will explain everything as soon as the game finishes. But this game is a very good glimpse of what's going to happen. So yeah, here, this is the most ambitious line when they take here. ed5 is bad, knight e5 is also not ideal. Knight e5, d4. So yeah, this is the most ambitious line, and now there are two possible lines. The first one is to go queen f3 immediately, where after knight e5, bishop b5, c6 is supposed to be best, and then queen e2 happens, and then they follow up with some f4, and okay, the line goes on. And here, bishop d7 is a bit better than c6 objectively, but and the rising position is like this, where you in the end have amazing counterplay. You gain long castles, rook g8, and so on. But c6 is also really, really problematic, as we have seen here. In the other one, we played c5. Yeah, if you have the I also mix up the lines sometimes. Mix up the lines sometimes. It happens because we're not engines with, like, humans cannot always remember and play perfectly. So it will happen, but as long as you know the ideas, both the moves are possible, and yeah, it can lead to really, really quick wins. This is a very nice glimpse in the critical lines of the repertoire. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, against this nonsense, the nonsense lines, we will do the same old thing. Like, why not? This has been working out flawlessly. And okay, they go for c5, a bit more active than most other opponents I've faced. They want to go a4 maybe? Probably not. or b4. Both are possible actually. Maybe I just want king h1 and the normal bishop f2, bishop h4, and g4 f5 plan. We have seen this one several times already. If they go for this kind of lines, which are not too good. Yeah, this one I just don't believe in, but it might be okay. Let's see. I wanted fe. f6 is possible as well, but then ef takes and they cannot promote, so maybe not this one. Maybe fe just, or bishop e7 first to keep it simple. Okay, I'll try to keep it simple. Bishop e7. Okay, it's far from simple because they can take here as well. They can take on e7, but at least there is not that much tactics left. Oof. Now, if I go here, takes, there is d4 check, bishop e4. There's probably absolutely no need to allow this. With knight g1, I really I don't want to make this move, although I think it's the best one. Yeah, decisions. Okay, let's go here. My king is very, very unsafe. Actually, d4 is not the biggest problem. Queen e3 is a bigger problem. I didn't even see it. This one is also a problem. Okay, this game I might lose. I should not have played in the ambitious way with f5. I was trying to have too much fun. There was no need for this. I really was not supposed to win this game. King d8 was a draw, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure king d8 there was a draw. This one is not. No idea. No idea why I went for this. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the Fianchetto King's Indian, that's one of the more annoying lines. This game, I was in real danger. Probably lost at some point. Of course, after the opening, it was amazingly nice for white, but where have I gone wrong? With bishop e7. Yeah, f8, which was my original idea. I don't know why I didn't do it. I wanted to keep it simple, and in the end, it was garbage. Knight g1. Queen d4, and here it's just a draw if they go here, and then there is no. I have to make a draw. I have to make a draw like this. Okay. Got lucky. I will have to focus way less on the chat and talk way less when I get to higher. When I get to high rated opponents. It will simply get harder and harder. Okay, I will go for g6. With f5 it was also fine. Against all of these nonsense lines. They're playing quite a lot of nonsense lines at this level. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the opponents I'm paired against. I don't know why would they play such things. Just be bad, just have a very bad position quickly. Okay, now I don't want to see any tactics after last game. I've become an old positional player. I can't calculate any tactics, so my opponent, that's why he's trying to beat me and open the H file. Okay, let's not allow the knight to G5. Let's not allow them to take on H5. Yeah, rook d8, maybe bishop f7 to simply block, block the whole king side. I guess he should go here and take the pawn. It's probably the best thing he can do. And now I should launch my own attack on the king, or just exchange a lot of stuff and win the endgame. Nice defense, yeah. That was a really bad game. Those will happen, you cannot play perfectly. Usually. There are some GMs who are able to play perfectly. Yeah. I mean, again, we've played d6 and this setup against these sidelines, you will just always be better. Swindling is one core competence of a 1d6 player. Yeah, there is some truth to that. There is some truth to that as well. Okay, against this setup, we're going to go for the quick f4 or quick d4 now when they played f6. Now this is even more tempting. Open everything and exploit them not developing pieces. I could have included bishop b5, but it's not gonna escape, I think. Oh, okay, did escape, but now maybe some worse things will happen. After queen b3, bishop c4, or this one. This is also extremely... Now there is a very nice tactic with bishop b5, queen takes, a takes, rook a8, or a takes immediately, queen a8, so no reason not to play it, as far as I can see at least. Knight e7 probably the only way, and then we start taking, play bishop b3. Not only that I'm material up, positionally it's even worse. The poor king on e8. But you cannot just move pawns in the opening and not care about pieces. That's not how chess works. Fortunately or unfortunately. How to improve board vision? Blindfold chess. Analyze without moving the pieces. Just analyze in your head without moving the pieces. It's as simple as that. And do it consistently. Do it consistently for a week and you will not have problems with it anymore. Let's go knight d5. What are we up? Some knights. Okay, that's enough. And that's more than enough. One free. Okay, I'll do. I'll upload on my YouTube one episode per day in the morning. Okay, G4. G4. Do you see it, guys? It actually happened. It actually happened. Yeah, what I was saying is I will upload one episode per day to YouTube. So when I'll be playing the German Bundesliga on the weekend, I'll upload, and now I'll create today and tomorrow. I'll create several new episodes, and then you'll be able to follow up on YouTube anything you've missed. You've missed on live streams. Let's take this. Maybe Queen G5. I should probably use a move to play Bishop D7 or A6 so that Knight B5 isn't that annoying. And then he says it's still annoying. He may be right. Yeah, okay. There's no real need to allow this, but still the position is really good. I'll have to retreat and defend a bit the pawn. B6. Let's run away. I don't have to castle, the rook may well become active here. Now I'll play B6. Which may not have been the best move. Yeah, I'm missing stuff. I've started missing a lot of things. After 1800 we're definitely ending for today. That's for sure. Anyway, there are not many viewers, so let's go to h5 and then try to exploit these dark squared holes in the position. Let's put this knight so that I can go g6, king g7 if needed, and it probably will be needed. Why there? Why not rook c1 to create counterplay? I'm trying to see if there is some concrete win. But okay, then I'll just take the rook. Queen g5 and those stuff, it was just not working. Let's go back to the materialistic approach. Now it's all fine. Once again, I will say thank you to the opponent for opening the file for my rook. Taking that pawn was not the best idea, that's for sure. Okay, So where the problems began were... The problems began right about here. Yeah, first I forgot that in the course we gave e5 first and not h4, because now after d4 and d5 I got a bad position. Then my opponent forgot about the g5 pawn, and then everything was fine. And here the problem started. I should have gone a6 and never think about knight b5 again. So yeah. And here I couldn't understand why not this. Okay, yeah, g6, rook c7, take. I would go queen f6 and king g7 and so on. But still, this at least gives some counterplay. And this king g1 was of course immediately bad. Arena Kings is about to begin. Am I allowed to participate in Arena Kings with this account? It's actually a good question. Okay, let's keep going. I didn't update the win counter, right? No. For what rating am I going on this account? 3000. Any speedrun is supposed to be to 3000. Yeah, now we'll go for this knight bd2. So last time we went for g3, but now knight d2. Again, they're taking here massively and allowing my bishop to be active. I'll definitely not complain. It's castle. Taking here is of course always an option as well, but I will keep the bishops on the board in this game. Yeah, defeating Nakamura with 1b6. You cannot defeat Nakamura, he's too strong. I always think of bad moves for yourself and best for the opponent. Yeah, can happen. Not sure what advice to give you there. Maybe a coach would help you. Not sure. I don't think I'm supposed to play Arena Kings. This move I've seen, by the way. But after takes, and b3, I think the bishop is hanging and... this is the point. This one I didn't see. Okay. It's still not an objective problem, but I thought that I'm actually winning the game immediately, which I'm not. Rook takes or knight takes? Yeah, let's just play normal chess. Knight takes. And I guess if I take with the queen, there is c5 with some bishop h2 nonsense, so I will take with the pawn, which is what I planned, because now bishop b2 and knight f5 will come. I think it's quite nice. So what's with this? Nothing concrete yet. Then let's just go here. I need to be careful. Bishop e5 probably. Yeah, I went the wrong way when I played rook d1. Should have gone bishop c2 first. That was better for white, but the way I played it was not. Half of the team is here. Nice. Yeah, showing, of course. No, only 3 people. Is there a 4th member of the team? Or it's not half? Yeah, work on chess and steadily improve. It's part of the process. It took me 15 years to become a GM, so... And I was working hard every year. It's a long-term process. You cannot... Yeah, you cannot do it in a fast way. Now with the rook defending the queen, I can finally go knight f5. As queen f5 loses an exchange, queen f6 is better. Now I guess queen c4 will lead me into a very favorable endgame. Because now this bishop is extremely strong. Huh. Is it worth to give up the file for this? I don't think so. Actually, wait. Rook d1, rook d1, bishop f6. No, I don't really like it. I have to go for this one. And now I probably have to take with the bishop. Because if I take with the rook, there will be g6 and bishop e3. Now if rook d8. Actually, what if rook d8? If we go rook b1, there is rook d4 followed by bishop e3. Okay, this one, I guess, can go for this. Although it's still not anywhere near clean. But now, okay, rook d7, bishop d6 is not ideal, but maybe e5 first. Rook d7 was maybe stronger, but I just wanted to go for checkmate, honestly, when my opponent put the king on h7. So it's definitely not ideal, but we take the wins no matter what. The three of us score like 4. Don't tempt me, like, don't tempt me. I'll play the London next game. They say to learn and become GM you must start as child. Not really a child, but like I know people who started at 15 and became GMs, but later than that it would be very hard. You have a life outside the chessboard. Shallingford and Tijero are title players, by the way. You have to listen to them. Okay, considering the viewers number is shrinking, we are going to end as soon as we reach 1800, where we at relatively close. Okay, again they're going for d5 stuff. b4, really. And again, they're playing this in a strategically awful way, closing down this side of the board. No, we will not take this. Maybe retreating the knight is best. Taking would allow some changes in the pawn structure, which is definitely not desirable. The pawn structure should remain exactly as it is. I mean, I actually want to go here. Then there's knight d4. Okay, it's not desirable, but I'll do it anyway. CD, I'll just go bishop e7. If d4, maybe either e4 or takes... No, e4 is best. And then I'll part ways with this pawn, but I'll get d5 in return, I hope. And the bishop remains stuck here. And now with the bishop pair and 2 pawns up, the rest should not be hard, even for me, even for the way I'm playing today. Maybe I'll eat my words, but let's go here first. If they take, they'll be surprised. I guess queen h5 is good enough, because there's queen f3. I'll take this one. Now queen c7 runs into this stuff. Maybe bring the last inactive piece into play. Now queen c7 runs into, as I was about to say, runs into this. So yeah, when they start playing when they stop playing this d5, then it will just be way harder. Okay, let's go again with this. Knight f3, bishop e2. Okay, now we're going to go e5 and c4, and this leads to almost the same. Yeah, if they go f5, in ef is usually what you should play with colors reversed, so I assume it's the same here. Let's go here, 94. This is one of the good lines for black in the course, one of the best lines actually. With colors reversed, of course. But here it's not much different. Simply because the structure is very, very favorable, and these pieces and the weakness, it's very favorable for white. I'll need to be a bit careful with this. Oof. Let's gain a tempo with bishop h5 for a start. And bishop g4. Now at least after e5 I always have f5, so that's some kind of an achievement. And I'll finish the developments like this. Okay, let's take, and then f5. Now f6 is a problem with huge attack, and you can see that it's strategically completely wrong. This knight dominates the pawn and the bishop. We have the majority here, and yeah, we will just continue with the onslaught here. Rook takes. Yeah, which one is better? Doesn't even matter. Take with the knight, queen g6. No mercy. Yeah, usually this position, it usually arises after, with colors reversed, it usually arises after this one, after knight f3, knight g5, sorry, not knight g5, knight d2, f5, here, e3, and then you go c5, and then after d5, it's almost the same. And it's even immediately preferable for black if they go over knight d2. So yeah, this is also an instructive game, I think. I can't wait till they start taking on e5 in the Fidor. The endgame is incredibly rich. Yeah, it will be interesting, that's for sure. Where are we at? 1774. This is not part of the course. And we can see why. If we're winning after move 3, then it's not a problem. Let's get rid of this knight. We will include this. 94 unfortunately does not work, but what can you do? We'll just have to play with 2 pawns. 2 pawns up. And this move was not accurate because I'm not threatening anything. Doesn't matter. Queen f3, bishop d6 is still... White is also not threatening anything. And if I exchange the queens, I will, even with the worst pawn structure, I'll be 2 pawns up. Okay, that's an interesting try. I take... Knight takes, queen takes is a check, which is absolutely not ideal. Bishop e7. Made it a bit messy. Bishop b4 cd. Okay. I'll have to live with the fact that I messed up a bit. And then we'll just take this. I think takes is best, and then bishop e7. And then just bishop e6 no matter what they play next move. They think I hold on my own. Of course, if it trades everything, that's completely fine, but if rook e1, I mean just in time to block with bishop e6 and long castle later on. Okay. Queen e5. We will now long castle. Takes. There is rook g. There is rook g8. Bishop h3. Now I can give this check, which looks best. c3. There is takes, and then get rid of the bishop next move. King c1. Take. There is no rook e8. I mean, there is, but it's not that effective. So I'll just take on d4 next move. Okay, c3. It is clever, but I will still exchange the queens, and with 3 passed pawns, good luck in stopping them. I don't think it will be possible. We'll first bring the king to support the pawns and then start pushing the pawns down the board, but not blunder g5. Yeah, now it's not too interesting anymore in this game. I just push and promote. However, d6 got the job done, as it always does. Yeah, I mean, this is like f4 is just, it's just not gonna get the job done for white. Okay. 1783. Okay, we said if they played this kind of a system, we'll take more space with c4, knight c3, and gain the square. Now I'll go knight g5, I guess, and take the bishop pair. Why not? I did give my opponent the d4 square, but without this bishop, the light squares should be extremely weak. Actually, I'll part ways with the light squares and the bishop in order to destroy my opponent's castling rights, and now I will open the position here. They go queen g4, knight e5, queen e6, king h7. Knight d5. Or do I just take on? No, I'll just take. The other one was probably better, but considering that I'm relatively tired, I will play it like this, not to blunder some tactics. Here in a slowly but surely winning endgame with a pawn up, the chances to blunder are way lower. Unless you blunder a bishop, that helps. Take. We didn't have problems out of the opening yet, which is very good. But maybe we'll start having problems out of the opening when we reach 2000 rated players and above, entitled players. Okay. Chat, are you alive? Is there anyone left? Actually, Arena King started, that's why everyone left. Yeah, makes sense. E5, T4, or bishop C4 first? No, D3. They again go for this system. Yeah, and same as with colors reversed, we set that against this system we're just gonna try to seize a lot of space. We seize a lot of space, and yeah, no problems whatsoever. But there will be problems for white quite soon, I think, if they allowed this kind of play. What's the best way to do this? Knight b3, bishop e6, then he can include bishop f6, bishop f6, king c2, and then go d5. I mean, it looks really tempting to break through with d5. Let's bring the knight to c5 and b3 later on. Seems like a good idea. And this one I'll take on f5. You're playing Arena Kings. Try to beat Hikaru. The chat wants someone to do that. With 1d6, try to do that. That's your objective. Okay, take here. Take here. We won't have problems in the opening. We have to lure them into false safety. Yeah, right. No. Out of the opening, you get winning positions like we did in this game. That's the spirit. But the course itself suggests a very active lines. Okay, 1799, so we have to play one more. Hopefully the last one. No, this course creates really a lot of active play and active variations. It's not about memorization or long positional battles. It's about new, fresh ideas and fighting, lots of fighting. You have seen a glimpse of main lines today. C3. Now you'll see how easy it is to play these endgames. Go C4, knight C3, and all of these holes on the dark squares will be very, very hard for black to handle always, and the bishop is restricted. They want to put it here. Do I go knight f6? Yeah, I guess maybe I'm too ambitious, but I'll just do this and put the knight on e5. could be a bit too ambitious, but I don't mind. Queen C7. Now it's time for this. Defense stuff. If knight e5, guess what? Problems. Bishop b4. Now we get rid of the knight. And we get to 1800. Alright. 121. I think 121 is the correct. Yeah, 121 is the correct one. Correct number. Okay, 1800. One more episode done. I'm going to radio to someone right now. Thanks everyone for watching. This part will be on YouTube, same as any other parts. Parts 1 and 2 are for now up there. Part 3 will be tomorrow morning. This part in 2 days. So yeah, just need to find someone to radio to. I'll radio to my old rival GM Rasmus Vane. He's usually streaming in German, but doesn't matter. Anyway, you guys speak German, don't you? Yeah, we're all looking forward to 3000. The cons. Thank you, Domination. Okay. Bye bye. See you for now.